You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Black and white sports fans, let's talk about Michele Tafoya of NBC Sports. Now, you have seen her. She is the sideline reporter on Sundays for NFL games. Now, she recently appeared on The View. You know, the wokety woke people over there on The View, far left socialist liberals. Yeah, those kind of people. She appeared on their show the other day, and they actually got into it about one Colin Kaepernick. And Michele Tafoya really kind of exposed that Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, all these other crazy leftists over there on their show, they know absolutely nothing about sports. I've said it many times before, guys, that the woke mob, they're not sports fans. They're social justice warriors and nothing more. And we're really going to kind of expose how dumb they are when it comes to sports. Because when they were talking about Colin Kaepernick, and we know that Colin Kaepernick came out and compared the combine to slavery. And of course, you know, these woke idiots on The View agree with that. So let's dive into this, guys. Here you see on Fox News, The View hosts clash over Kaepernick and his NFL slavery comparison. Nobody forces these guys to play. Now, who said that? Of course, that'll be Michele Tafoya. But let's read this here. Sparks flew on the set of ABC's The View Wednesday as co-host Sunny Holston and guest Michele Tafoya clashed over ex-NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick and his comparison of the league's draft process and training camps to slavery. Now, guys, Colin Kaepernick has been complaining for a while that he's not getting an opportunity. He wants to play, but when he compares all this to slavery, why in the world would he actually want to go back into, quote unquote, slavery? Doesn't make any sense, but I digress. During a discussion on Kaepernick's new Netflix special titled Colin in Black and White, the two argued over the accuracy of the comparison and eventually butted heads over the reasoning for him no longer playing in the NFL. Now, guys, we have been very, very clear. Kaepernick has gotten like 3 opportunities since he last was in the league, and he blows it every single time because he doesn't want to play. He wants to be a social justice warrior, and he's cashing in on that, guys. He's making millions of dollars to be a professional victim. Okay. Quote, no one pressures them. They're not forced to go into the NFL, Tafoya, an NBC Sunday Night Football reporter, said in response to co-host Sarah Haynes calling the comparison not a far stretch. So the combine, not a far stretch to slavery? Really? See, this is the kind of crazy stuff the woke revolutionaries believe in. This is utterly insane. It's disrespectful to black people. This is just ridiculous. Not a far stretch. I mean, when you go into slavery, you're not getting paid. You're going in against your will. But when you go to the combine, you're going to the combine because you want to be there to make a living for yourself. But Joy Behar also says something that's pretty crazy too. We'll get into that too. Quote, I've been covering the NFL for 25 years. Nobody forces these guys to play. Talking about Tafoya. She said that in response to the loudmouth Sarah Haynes. Quote, I thought comparing it to the slave trade was a little rough. Actually, it was a lot rough. It's ridiculous. These guys enter willingly. They are the most well-cared for people. Yes, they play a hard sport, and every one of them, black, white, Latino, whoever's playing the sport will tell you how much they love it, and they're willing to do it, and they make a damn good living, close quote. That's pretty much well said right there, Michele Tafoya. Great comeback. You know, comparing it to slave, that just infuriates me about this. It really, really does. And Netflix allowed this to actually be put in there. I'm so disgusted looking at this guy right here. I mean, this guy is completely crazy. He does not deserve to be in the NFL. Last seen in the NFL, he lost his starting job to Blaine Gabbert because he started sucking. and they benched him. Okay? Holston said she loved the special, of course she would, and that it was artfully done, but lamented that headlines surrounding it seemed to be focused on these slavery comparisons. She told the story of her experience watching the NFL Combine when her son attended and claimed that it made her feel uncomfortable in a way that was similar to how Kaepernick portrayed it. Wow. See, this is the kind of people we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? I haven't been an NFL athlete. I haven't. But I went to the Navy. The Navy and all the military, really, they kind of have a combine itself. It's called going to MEPS. You're in there with a whole bunch of other guys. You're in your underwear and you're bending down. Doctors checking you out. You're doing duck walks, all this other stuff. Similar, not the same, but black people do it. Asian people do it. Latino people do it. Everybody does it that goes into the military. And I've never heard it compared to slavery whatsoever. Even though when you go into the military, the government essentially owns you. They own you, okay? For the duration of your military service. Quote, the majority of the owners of the NFL are white men. The majority of the players are black men. So there is that comparison that he makes to slave owners, and slaves is not sort of totally unreasonable or out of bounds. She added, insane. She says that it's not out of bounds that these players who want to go to the NFL, she's essentially calling them slaves. Ridiculous. Tafoya pointed to an interview Holston conducted with Kaepernick for Ebony magazine in October, in which he showed his love for the NFL by continuing to train on his own. Kaepernick began kneeling during the national anthem in protest of police brutality and other issues in 2016. A former San Francisco 49er who led the team to the Super Bowl in 2012, he has not played in the league since becoming a free agent in 2017. Quote, he loves the sport, but the white owners have prevented him from doing it. They colluded and they have all the power to prevent him from doing the one thing that he loves. That's the power dynamic, Holston claimed. Now, obviously, she does not watch sports. She doesn't, because I believe the Baltimore Ravens were about to give him an opportunity, and then Colin Kaepernick's communist girlfriend decides to put out a picture basically showing the Baltimore Ravens owner as a slave master. They didn't sign him. Fast forward again, the NFL goes out of their way. Man, I've said this 1,000 times. They got a representative from every single NFL team to go watch Colin Kaepernick work out. The NFL put this together for Colin Kaepernick. No other NFL player that I can think of has ever gotten that opportunity. Kaepernick doesn't show up. He changes the location and doesn't tell the NFL. And then he goes on his social justice rant, calling out the NFL, talking about they're hiding the truth from the people and all this other stuff. The man does not want to play. Michele Tafoya says this, quote, if they believe he could win them a Super Bowl, he would be on a team right now. I promise you that. Tafoya retorted before the show went to a commercial break. Yeah, if he was actually, worth the trouble, he would be on a roster right now. If he could actually play, he would be on a roster right now. But one thing, he's not worth the headache because the man can't play anymore. It is just that simple. The dual threat Kaepernick won his starting job with the San Francisco 49ers in the middle of the 2012 season, where the team eventually reached the Super Bowl. They returned to the playoffs the following year, but they slumped in 2014 and eventually suffered losing records in 2015 and 2016 as Kaepernick was benched for inconsistent play. Absolutely. On weak teams, he went a combined 3-16 as a starter his final 2 years. After the break, now this is pretty insane right here, guys. After the break, co-host Joy Behar claimed that many black players go into the NFL because other career fields were closed to them due to racial inequality in the U.S. She then questioned why Kaepernick wasn't playing football anymore. That is completely insane. So Joy Behar is saying that black football players, they're only going to the NFL because racism in other fields. No, they're going into the NFL because they want to go to the NFL. And many of these players, they make that decision probably when they're in middle school or high school. That is their goal. And a lot of these guys make it to the NFL because they're stuck to their guns. They put in the work. All they could think about was making it to the NFL. Has nothing to do that they can't go out and do something else. Joy Behar, that is a lie. That's a lie. Tell me, I'm a black man myself. Guess what? I wasn't an athlete. I made it. I had a pretty good job in the oil and gas industry as a black man. I got a job in the oil and gas industry, which is very, very prestigious in the state of Texas. Racism did not hold me back. This is what these liberals do. They try to make black people victims. Don't fall for it. Quote, the reason he is not playing is because other owners have colluded together. Holston began before Tafoya jumped in to suggest she should be careful with such accusations. Holston continued, claiming he was no longer playing because he took a stand on racial issues and lost everything. Quote, there's no owner in the NFL to this day that has the courage to take him back, she added. Now, guys, Colin Kaepernick was not the only player to kneel for the national anthem. There were other players as well. Those players, a lot of those players, still played in the NFL. Kaepernick, he didn't because he doesn't want to play anymore. And he wasn't that good anymore at the end. Tafoya retorted that Kaepernick didn't lose everything, but he actually gained a whole lot. And we've said that before, citing his Netflix special and Nike endorsement deal. Yes, he is making millions of dollars from Netflix and Nike to be a professional victim. Quote, he lost the one thing he wants to do, Horston responded. Quote, I don't get to do what I want to do either, and sometimes life just ain't fair, and it sucks, Tafoya said. She was right on the money with this. And the only reason any conservative actually goes on to The View is pretty much to get beat up by these crazy liberals. And ladies and gentlemen, also Michele Tafoya, let me go back here. I'll look this up here. Michele Tafoya gets played off and booed in second disastrous View appearance. Apparently she had been on there before, but we know when it comes to The View, it's nothing but liberals in there. It's a dumpster fire, to tell you the truth. I don't watch The View. I don't. And takes like this, lets me know that these people know absolutely nothing about sports. They don't care about sports. They only care about social justice stuff and lies. You got Joy Behar saying that black men can't get other jobs because of racism. They only go into the NFL because they don't have any other choice because other industries are racist. That's insane. And they're agreeing with the combine being slavery when you have players of all racial backgrounds doing the same. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, this is utterly ridiculous, folks. Utterly ridiculous. So make sure you guys go over to blackandwhitenetwork.com, pick up a membership. Also, if you want to, you can grab the merch, 25% off the merch. Use the discount code ESPCNN. Anyway, guys, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to Black and White Sports, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.